Welcome to Emtron Training Part 35. In this training tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at working with our individual cylinder trim control as well as our banked fuel trim control within our ECU programming. Our individual cylinder trim control allows us to offset fuel or spark timing very specifically to any cylinder that might be having knock conditions or having unequal airflow or fuel distribution. We can make sure that all the cylinders run even, which is very important for engine longevity. We also are able to, on a banked engine, so a V8 engine for example, if we have one bank that's having a different lambda than the other bank, we can correct it using our bank trims. We're going to dive in how this works and specific examples of going in and programming and calibrating the tables. We have a lot to learn. Let's jump in so we can check this out. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with our individual cylinder trim control and our banked fuel trim control in our Emtron ECU programming. We'll find we might have the need to work with our individual cylinder trim control if we have some kind of a fuel distribution or airflow distribution problem in specific cylinders. This is very common with intake manifold design. You'll find that not all of the cylinders get the exact same amount of airflow. Now, if you're making lower power levels, this isn't necessarily a big deal. If you're making very high power levels, this can be detrimental to how the engine is going to run. That specific cylinder that's getting more airflow than the rest can have a large discrepancy and can run leaner. And if it runs leaner, our actual combustion temperature will raise. We're more likely to knock or pre-ignite on that cylinder, so we might have the need to work with our individual cylinder trim control. Now, the way this is going to be out of the box, the individual cylinder trim control is going to be turned off in any of the Emtron base files. You may want to turn it on, and again, we have specific circumstances where we're going to be implementing it, and we can do that very precisely. We can do it in a basic overall type of correction, so idle part throttle, wide open throttle. We can do that in a two-dimensional type correction where we're looking at just the airflow or something like RPM, or we can be even more specific and have a three-dimensional type of correction where we can go in and apply that fuel or spark timing offset in that cylinder, let's say at high flow and at high RPM, but we don't want to apply it at part throttle. We have all that kind of flexibility in the programming within the Emtron, so we're going to talk about how to do that and how to set up your tables. We're also going to be taking a look at banked fuel trim control on a V6, V8, V10, V12 engine, especially at lower airflow, so idle type of conditions, even very light throttle. It's not going to be uncommon to find one bank deviating from the other in terms of the fuel delivery. We can correct it using our banked fuel trim control. So we're going to discover and talk about both here in this tutorial. The first thing I want to cover and take a look at is our individual cylinder trim control, because that's the ultimate way in terms of the programming flexibility, and we have to know more information to be able to determine if we want to work with that type of strategy or not. So first thing, let's go and talk about our fuel in our individual cylinder trim control and learn how to actually activate this. If we go to fuel and we move down here, we see cylinder trims is in our drop down. We can start to click on these, but we're going to find that they're grayed out. We actually can't click on this and do anything with it. We actually have to enable it and turn it on for this feature to become active. Now, we can choose which specific cylinders we want to go in and actually edit. We could leave just one cylinder active and keep all of them, the rest of them off. We could activate all the cylinders or engine and only calibrate and work with one table. That's typically what I do. I activate all of them if I need to use individual cylinder trim control, and then just pick and choose what I want to edit within the actual table. If I go down here towards the bottom under fuel table control, we're going to find we have our cylinder trim tables. This is going to allow us to either turn on or off the cylinder trim control in a specific cylinder. Now, I have a 4-cylinder turbocharged 2-liter engine, so I'd only be able to enable or only want to enable the first 4 options here. We can see there's fuel cylinders 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the Emtron's going to know what specific cylinders you have because you've specified the engine displacement, the number of cylinders, and the firing order. So it knows everything in terms of what injector is associated to which specific cylinder and the firing order of the engine. We're going to go in here and we're going to be selecting here the option 1 to turn these on and activate them. Now, I do want to mention that the only way to work with your individual fuel and spark control is to make sure that you're running sequential style fuel injection. If you're running a batch style injection where we're essentially firing all the injectors at once, because you don't have a cam sync or a cam pickup reference on your engine, you're not going to be able to work with your cylinder trim control. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.